Hey guys, so here we are. Welcome to the Dacha Academy, and we're going to start today by building a foundation for understanding of chess. Okay, what does Dacha mean? So it means a summer home. It means a beautiful summer home, and we the goal is to build a beautiful home on the chessboard. And it's an artistic approach, but definitely very practical as well. I think you guys will enjoy it, and the goal is to hope that this will be a guide towards forming plans and spotting tactics from afar. So let's see what we let's see what we can talk about today. In chess, we have 64 squares, 32 light squares and 32 dark squares. Um, the goal, well, let's certainly when we learn chess, the first goal is we say checkmate. And then we get a little better. We learn about winning pieces, but actually, there's a saying that amateurs play to win pieces, masters play to win squares. What does that mean, win squares? To control squares. The center, most important squares in the board is the center. Okay. And, well, the whole board is important, not just the center. The center is the most. Castle kingside, often the king side is very important. Okay. And what we want to say is there's 64 squares in the chessboard, 32 light, 32 dark. We think of it as one battle, one board, but really, there are two boards and two battles going on side by side. There's a battle for the light squares, a light board, and a battle for the dark board. So one battle, the light squares. The second battle is for the dark squares. Two boards, two battles going on side by side. Both of them are important. And our goal is to build beautiful harmony on light and dark, using the pieces as builders and the pawns as bricks. Okay, so this is some ideas to keep in mind. And you could see this again to review. There's a lot of little details here. But this is the foundation. And here we go. Let's see an example. So again, pieces are builders, pawns are bricks. Our goal is to build a beautiful home. What makes a home beautiful? We have harmony, balance, harmony of light and dark, control of both boards. Let's start with, let's see an example of what we're talking about. Okay, G3. Oh, Fianchetto preparing the bishop to control the light squares. Let's say he moves the knight out, and we have control. He's trying to control the center, and we're trying to control the center as well. Okay, fair enough. Bishop comes out. The knight comes out here. Knight here is not the best move. Usually we put a pawn here, even put a pawn in front. The knight blocks the pawn, but let's just for example purpose, see the knight here. And now, here's the question. Bishop takes knight. What do we think about bishop takes knight? How are we feeling about that? Not the best. Not the best. Right? Bishop takes knight is giving up the bishop. What happens if we take the knight? Let's see what. Always good to kind of dissect positions and you know, to see even bad moves. It's good to see what's wrong with it, what's good with it. And we're going to see some ideas here. Bishop takes knight. So we're giving up the light square bishop. What colors get weak? Well, probably the diagonal. These squares are particularly weak. The light squares around the king. It's going to be dangerous if we castle here. On top of that, since we lost the light square bishop, the light bishop is the general of the light board. And the whole light board will feel the loss of the bishop. The whole light board will feel the loss of the bishop. So every light square is weak. This square is weak, this square is weak, this square is weak. Okay. All the squares are weak. Let's see how it could play out. If both sides play somewhat normally. Castle again. It's going to be dangerous for the king. There are weaknesses on the light squares around the king. All right, here we go. Bishop here, and the pawn. Let's say the pawn goes forward. D4. Pawn D4. Let's try it. Let's see it. E3. All right. White's controlling the center somewhat. Plays B6. Let's try here. Try here. And I think in this kind of position, yeah, it's gonna get weird for white. It's not very good for white. So he goes B4, maybe takes. Bishop here. Both sides develop. Plays here. And here. Here we go. So this bishop is very, very strong. Why is it so strong? It just feels strong. Feels strong. Let's talk about the colors. What exactly is going on with the bishop? The bishop is the sole, S-O-L-E, the sole light bishop on the board. White does not have his light bishop. Whenever one side has a bishop, the other side does not, that's called a golden bishop. Why gold? It's worth its weight in gold. Very precious. This bishop dominates the light board. Has no opponent. Diagonal is very, very weak and very strong. Black is putting a lot of pressure. Well, white overall has the center, but does white have harmony? Does white have harmony? This is a good place to maybe pause if you guys feel like looking at this for a moment and thinking, does white have harmony? Does he have balance of light and dark? How is his dark? How is his light? It's kind of something I want to get used to thinking about in our academy. When you play Blitz, it's going to be hard to do, but you get used to it. It'll eventually be able to use it even for Blitz. And certainly for slower time controls. Well, very helpful. The thing in terms of colors, always ask, how is my light? How is my dark? Do I have harmony? Am I weak on this? Where am I stronger on? Where am I weaker on? Alright, so here, clearly white is okay on the dark squares. He's okay. It's protection of the dark. The pawns are on dark. The bishop is kind of stuck, but it has some control of E5. But what about light? Very, very weak. Very weak on light. The whole diagonal is weak. No light bishop. Swiss cheese. Not a dacha. It's not a summer home. It's a hollow, dark hut. Hollow, dark hut. Not very attractive. And certainly white's problems will be on light. If you're black, what do you play? Black is going to try to hurt white on the light squares. What do you play? Let's see. What is black to play? Take a moment if you want to pause here. And here we are. We're going to say the black's move is Queen David 5, putting pressure on light. The queen acts as a second light square bishop. A second light square bishop. There's two bishops, and there's a lot of pressure, absolute battery on the light squares. If the knight moves, what does black play? Well, mate. Mate here, mate here. Here, mate here. Okay. Interesting. Just by the way, imagine white still had a bishop. It's a whole different experience. Then, in some cases, white's almost winning in some cases. It's just without a bishop, you're getting crushed. With a bishop, actually, white may have sometimes the upper hand here. All right. White does not have a bishop. Black is ahead on light. More power on light. Knight d2 only move is to protect the knight. If you're black, this is actually a kind of cool position where I want to like talk about getting to the root of positions, really, really grasping positions. That's what we're here for. And I think there's two ways to play. One is good, one is way better. There's an expression when you see a good move, look for even better move. Easier said than done, of course. But again, I think kind of coming to the root of the position when you're black, knowing that you have more light, that you deserve light. You have the light square bishop. This is a pretender. Knight d2, hokey pokey, not real, not nonsense. So how are you going to get rid of the knight? Well, there's two. I want you guys to pause. It's worthwhile to pause and think of what you want to do as black. Okay, and there is a good move of g5 threatening g4, king the knight. You could maybe try to protect against it. You could insist. Probably pretty strong. But there's way better. This knight is holding on for dear life. Very valuable, high value idea. We'll be talking, of course, a lot about this trading. Trading is one of the such an important concept. Becoming a very strong chess player. Trading, lots of trades. When the position asks for it, such a common and important idea. Knight e4, knight e4. Trading the knight, simply saying, you know what? I don't need the hassle. Trade knights, and then we talk. It was like, all right, well, no other choice. Otherwise, knight takes knight, and the knight has to move and then mate. So you trade. Well, guess what? Now it's back to reality, and guess what? White's getting crushed. All kind of straightforward stuff. But if our goal here is not to see the exact just the tactics, but also to really master what's going on beneath the surface, the nuance, the light squares, appreciating a golden bishop. If you guys want to have a little homework from today's lesson, well, whenever you have a golden bishop, an unopposed bishop, step one, notice it. That you're ahead of the game. Just knowing you have it, you're good. Once you get used to that, step two, appreciating it. It's important, very important. And then step three is using it. Using it, say, how do I use it on that color? Here, it's pretty clear to use it on the long diagonal. Okay, only move. The knight moves, you get mated. And this is kind of where I was alluding to. The bishop here, let's say white still had a bishop, and like let's say black had a knight or something. If white still had a bishop, then he'd simply go knight h4, and not only is black not winning, but white's trapping the queen. If we imagine it, again, white bishop here, and if we went knight h4, the knight's controlling the light squares, and the bishop would then actually be dominating and trapping the queen, crushing black on light. Without the bishop, white gets crushed on light. With the bishop, white might crush black on light. Interesting. Such is the power of a bishop. Okay. Certainly, it's not bughouse. We can't just put pieces on the board. So only knight move, king g2 only move, and then good old pin it and win it. How does black put pressure on the knight to break down the defense? And I think the way will be g5 and then g4. h3 does not do much. h5 is fine to prepare. f5 is even better. Added bonus to open up the rook. And black is going to play g4. He's going to take, and then everything breaks through. And that's crushing attack, and you just win a piece. Probably mating as well. What color is the final breakthrough on? What color? Light. Coincidence. Absolutely not. Black has more light energy. White gave up the bishop, and such was his demise. Okay. Alright, going back to the scene of the crime. White gave up the bishop. Let's see it. How bad was it? Pretty bad. Was it dead loss? Was it losing? If you lose the bishop here, not very good, right? But you should probably not losing. And I'll tell you this: sometimes we have to trade. We have to trade bishops. Sometimes we're happy to trade bishops. There are reasons, advantageous reasons. So, well, you're not always losing if you give up a bishop, and even here you're not. What do we do when we lose a bishop? It's a general question. Of course, every position is different, but we're going to kind of get to the crux of it. When you lose a bishop, you're losing light energy, and I want to kind of talk about, again, the pieces: light bishop, light energy; dark bishop, dark energy. And you lose a light, you lose control of the light board. You give up the light bishop. What do you do to make up, to replenish light? Make a new light bishop. Maybe the queen could help on light. Probably going to have the queen on light. If you only have a dark square bishop, well, Capablanca says that if you have one bishop, you generally put the queen on the other color to act as a second bishop. That's something helpful. But let's look for more. What else could we do to replenish light? Maybe you guys could pause and think. And here we are. What we're going to do is, generally when we lose a bishop, we put pawns on the color of the missing bishop. A pawn chain. Some might say, oh, if you're missing the bishop, don't castle it. Castle queenside. It's a good answer. But you know what? It doesn't help the fact that we don't have a light bishop. So let's kind of replenish. Let's build something we're proud of. Build a beautiful home that we're proud to live in. And that's something, a beautiful pawn chain, but actually it's much more. It's a miniature bishop. We just built a mini light bishop. If we had a bishop, it would go till here. Well, this is a mini bishop, handmade. This controls diagonal, this diagonal, this diagonal. Mini bishop. We've effectively built a small light bishop. Why is important light? What about dark? Well, we have a dark bishop. So the more the merrier. We need to build, so we have a mini bishop, a lot of work, but that's what happens to give a bishop. You gotta work to replenish. All right, here we are. So knight e2, knight out. I don't mind castling now. I don't mind it. And we're going to go our bishop here. Again, his golden bishop. Well, pretty strong. But not even close to what it was before. I think it's a fair fight. The golden bishop, reasonable. You know, I mean, it's strong. But it's met its match. It's not crushing us. White's king is feeling okay on the light squares. Why? Why is it okay? Because pawns on light act as mini bishops. Okay. Queen d2, and now white's okay. They're not in any serious danger. So, let's recap a little bit. Bishops are important. You want to keep bishops. Well, let's again harmony. Let's harmony, control of light and dark. Building our dacha, building our summer home. The pieces are our builders. The pawns are bricks. Pieces help a lot. Bishops, we'll discuss knights next time. But bishops, certainly, each bishop on its color. You want to keep the harmony. The two bishops have good harmony. That's why the bishop pair is important. If we lose a bishop, we're going to try and replenish that bishop with mini bishops. So, in this position, bad to trade the bishop, not very good, but replenish with mini bishops, we're okay. And knowing this, sometimes we can maneuver and trade a bishop for a knight. And it looks terrible, but you quickly rebuild. And then the extra knight could play and give us some advantage. Whereas a knight plan colors? Is a knight a color piece? Okay, that's something you guys could think about between now and next lesson. If we give up a light bishop for a knight, did we lost light? Did we gain anything? Did we gain dark? Something we'll be talking about. But again, mini bishops, maybe two little pieces of homework for you guys. Build mini bishops, and appreciate when you have a golden bishop. And I'm going to mention one more thing before we end for today. If you have a golden bishop and they create mini bishops, don't settle. Don't settle. Say, you know what? I got the real bishop, and I'm going to tear you down. I'm going to start going here. Maybe get like the knight here, and then crack him little by little. Try to tear him down. Say, hey, I got the real McCoy, the real bishop. Force him up, and then F5. Tickle him again. Fight him on light. Try to break him down. Say, oh, white's like, oh, no problem. But black's like, no, I got what I wanted. And if this pawn ever moves, suddenly the golden bishop is back in action and attacking on the light squares. So there's always that fight, often that fight of golden bishop versus mini bishop. Again, on a color and light squares on the light board. What happens in the dark board here? Again, we haven't even touched that at all. That has to do with knights, how other pieces interact. So again, mini bishops, a little practice in that. Get one game in of mini bishops, get some games of golden bishop, use a golden bishop, and we will be back next time. It's been a pleasure.